Landscaping done right is more art than science, and it became clear to Tom and Patty Schodorf when they hired Cartwright Landscapes that they were working with true artists.
I just told them I basically wanted a formal rose garden that had great drainage, great sun exposure, and would look good. And I didn't really know anything else beyond that, and he just kind of went loose. So we told him we liked boulders and rocks, and he kind of did his own thing, and it was a very different end result, but I love it. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I've really had fun back in my rose garden.
The Schodorfs learned about Cartwright from neighbors. They learned, among other things, that Cartwright Landscapes is a family-owned business based in Alpharetta. The company was founded back in 1988 by Jack Cartwright, a graduate of Penn State's School of Agriculture. But it's one thing to hear about how Cartwright has been creating award-winning landscapes throughout the Southeast for more than 2 decades. It's quite another to see it for yourself. The Schodorfs wanted lots of beautiful things in their yard, and they certainly got it, but they were also worried about water. They wanted to make sure they had some long-standing drainage issues solved, and the creative use of rocks and boulders by the Cartwright team really did the trick.
He thought of the cove, and he designed it so that you're angled at the appropriate ergonomics, and that your feet are right.
And for rocks, it's pretty darn comfortable.
It is really comfortable.
It's really amazing.
It's really comfortable.
The result is an outdoor space that is both functional and spectacular. And given Cartwright's reputation for excellence, it's not surprising.
I would absolutely recommend him. Brian's an artist, not a bobcat, who is just really proud of his work, and he's not going to leave something without it being absolutely perfect.
I would say that you could trust him, and you could trust his firm, and that you're going to get a good value for the money.
A good value, that is, more than anything else, a work of art. Michael and Rachel Marlowe presented Cartwright with a different kind of challenge. They live right across the street from the Schodorfs. They have a vast area of grass extending from the back of their house and up the hill. The Marlowes had no idea what to do with the space, and they left the heavy lifting to Cartwright.
We decided to do our backyard plan. We knew that he was the guy for us because he has great vision, and he can see things that you can't see, and he brings everything to life.
Where he moves that bobcat around, moving all these rocks and making these boulders, it's amazing how he does it.
It was entertainment for the backyard. We sat out here and we watched them because it was pure entertainment watching them work.
The Cartwright team crafted a chimney out of rock, meticulously molding and shaping it. It's the kind of care and attention to detail for which Cartwright is known. Look at this. Imagine this in your backyard. Hardscaping is a company signature for Cartwright. When you drive down the road, after you've seen a few Cartwright projects, you can pick them right out. But Jack Cartwright also has a staff of botanical experts who will use flowers and plants the way a portrait painter will use oils and watercolors.
He created color and a shield from the other yards that we kind of wanted, so privacy and something beautiful to look at everywhere you turn around.
Cartwright also dealt successfully with drainage problems around the Marlowes' pool. The team built functional retaining walls with rock seating, natural rocks in the shapes of seats. Unbelievable. An area that Rachel Marlowe loves to call her Flintstone section. And something else the Cartwright team created at the Marlowes' home. More satisfied customers.
We use it every day, and it's a complete out-yard space that gives us almost like a living room, a playroom, seating areas. We have, the outdoor kitchen. It's been amazing.
Which makes sense because Cartwright seems to specialize in amazing. Jim and Liz Jellin gave Cartwright what could have been a confusing canvas full of mostly red clay and scrub brush. It was difficult then to see through the debris what this space could become, so the Jellins relied on Cartwright's vision.
And that's what he always does. He looks at it from an eye of, what looks good to him and what he would do if it was his own home. And we've always been happy approaching it that way.
First, the lot was cleared, and then, stroke by stroke, the Cartwright team began to fill in this canvas. There was nothing for the Jellins to do except watch the artists work.
To see what he can do with a tractor and a boulder is like it's like playing in the sand for him. It's amazing. I mean, he stunned everyone. There were so many professionals working on this job, and there's no one that wasn't just blown away.
The Jellens wanted retaining walls and focal points. This was new construction, and they gave the Cartwright team complete creative freedom, which is how the landscapers at Cartwright, and for that matter most artists, like to work. The Jellens realize that such an approach sometimes makes customers a little nervous, but the approach is justified in the results.
When people come here, I mean, as beautiful as I think the house is, nobody ever says anything about the house. It's always the yard. So, I mean, how often does the yard trump the house? I don't know, but it never happened to me before. And like I said, there's no one that's ever been here that's been here for the first time that hasn't just been wowed.
Cartwright has a knack for reducing even the most daunting projects to a simple three-letter word: wow.
It creates a setting or an atmosphere that really goes with, frankly, we think, the look of the rest of the community.
I love this project. Fred wanted a less formal, natural-looking landscape. He'd been to Ireland and was quite taken with the look of Irish hillsides. He knew that bringing his vision to life would not be easy, but he called Cartwright, and they got it done.
And I basically trusted them. Candidly, what caught my eye about Jack's work when I saw it before we actually contracted was his use of berms. If you are familiar with a Cartwright landscape, you'll recognize characteristically that Jack doesn't do much on flat ground. Jack creates sort of a rolling topography to the land, which just adds, I think, to the richness of the way it looks.
Fred's project had two phases, an original design followed later by hardscaping. This is a golf course community, and Fred wanted to make sure that what was done fit with the existing landscape.
You can see the plants at different angles and different looks and different heights. So that was the one thing I requested, was that Jack do that, which of course he probably would have anyway.
Fred left the rest to the Cartwright team and got exactly what he was looking for, a glimpse of the Irish hillsides in his own backyard.
He was honest, and he communicated, and he was a genuine person.
Former Atlanta Falcon Chuck Smith trusted the Cartwright team to build Chuck's backyard from the ground up, and it's amazing. Look at this place. Stone by stone, meticulous work. Chuck had his own vision. He knows plants and grasses and wanted Cartwright to integrate his ideas in the overall plan. For a project this massive, Chuck knew, more than anything else, that he needed people he could trust. He worked with a lot of landscapers during his 20 or so years living in the Atlanta area, and the only name that came to mind for him when he wanted this job done the right way was Cartwright.
Jack's the best I've ever had, because at the end of the day, he stands by his work, and if the work ain't done correctly, he comes back and gets it done. Even plants, he'll keep getting it done, so I have a lot of respect for Jack, and I also like the fact that he does lots of different things.
Chuck had this house built, and he was concerned with drainage and standing water. Cartwright custom designed a drainage system which keeps the property puddle-free even after the hardest rains. As this project proves, no canvas is too big for a true artist. Bob Roberts was looking for something serene with waterfalls and a fish pond. Bob wanted a space that didn't look man-made, and he got it.
So in the summertime, you literally feel like you're in a forest, and it is just it is beautiful, and it is just serene and calm and peaceful when you're sitting out here.
Like virtually all of Cartwright's finished projects, Bob's backyard has become the talk of the neighborhood. An incredible before and after, an almost supernatural metamorphosis that is a byproduct of uncommon creativity and vision.
One of my friends who came back here and saw the backyard, knew what it was like before we bought, or after we bought the house, came back here after we had transformed it and just about fainted. He could not believe the transformation, and he even asked, he said, somebody did this. Somebody literally transformed this backyard from just flat grass to all of this. I said, yes, they did in about 6 weeks, and that's all it took them. And he couldn't believe it. He said, you need to give me the name and the number, because I'm going to have the same thing done to my backyard.
Magical transformations, and perhaps Cartwright's most recognizable signature. When you look at a scene like this, you will undoubtedly recognize it as a Cartwright creation, which seems appropriate because, as we know, all great artists sign their work. Jack Cartwright and his team, give them a call, whether you have a huge job or a little one. Jack will tell you what can be done to make it beautiful. You will love it.